Rocking and rolling. We're on air. We're here. Mandela, what's happening, my boy?
What's good, fam?
I'm chilling, man. I'm glad to have you aboard here, man. I want you to introduce yourself to the people who are fresh listeners, man. Talk about who you are and how you established yourself at the point you're at right now, man.
Appreciate you. Well, first and foremost, thanks for having me. I'm Mandela. You know, I have an album, The Picture of Dorian Gray 2, right now. The way that I established myself and got here to this day is all due to God. All glory to God.
That's a beautiful way to start it, man.
That's how
listen, one of the biggest things I noticed is you were with Oprah Winfrey, man. How does that happen? How does that even come about? Oprah Winfrey is like impossible to get to. How does that happen? How does that come along?
Believe it or not, she came to me.
Word.
Yeah, she came to me. I was just going to school, being myself, you know, trying to prevent bullying in my school. And the opposite happened. There was a lot of bullying going on in my school. So, you know, when somebody tried to bully me, that's a whole different story. I'm going to fight you. But I was on the football team, right? So the guy that was bullying me was actually one of my teammates on the football team. And I had so much respect for the coach, I couldn't just, you know, steal off on him on the bus like I wanted to, you know?
Yeah.
Because I talked about it on the Oprah Show. I just said it in a lot more of a professional way. No disrespect to your show, because I give you the same respect as her couch.
Word. I appreciate that.
Much love, brother.
Because Oprah Winfrey is literally like global sensation. And I'm nobody.
Nah, you're on your way. You're on your way, sir.
That. Right on. So talk about how that comes together after that.
So basically, with the Oprah Winfrey Show, there was a lot of bullying in my school. So they, to the point where there was police officers in our hallways. There was an event where somebody got jumped in the hallway. Someone got jumped in the hallway, in the bathroom, and it was a black dude who got jumped in the bathroom. So then they caught the white guys walking on the east side in the hood, beat them up with the crowbar. Things got out of hand, so they had to have police in the halls the next day. Oprah found out how serious it was and the bullying issue was. There was a group called Challenge Day that first came to our school. In the Challenge Day group, they have activities against bullying to bring people together. So I was brought together, ironically, with the guy who was being racist to me on the ride to the football games, and he apologized and admitted that he was a complete racist. And that he grew up in a racist household, and he didn't want to continue that cycle. So he broke the cycle right there on Oprah.
Beautiful.
That's how I got on Oprah.
That's beautiful, man.
Yes,
for 1 second, can you bring that tilt that mic towards me?
Towards you? It's good? For sure.
Yeah, man. So that's crazy. So Oprah Winfrey acknowledges this moment that you guys have, and then you know what I'm saying? So this is on national TV, obviously, and everybody got to see this moment and everything like that. And what did it do for you as far as school's concerned? So did everybody start looking at you as like this leader of this movement for this particular instance and for what was going on in the school?
Not really.
Damn.
I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. Not really. There was a lot of different groups that were brought. There was maybe 4 or 5 main people that were told to speak on Oprah, and I just happened to be one of those people. So it wasn't really like an individual thing where everybody was looking at me. They were more so just excited that our school was on Oprah.
Yeah, man. That sucks, but that's cool at the same time because you still got the mission accomplished, right?
Got the mission accomplished. And the cool thing is actually I was asked to come back on Oprah. They did a Where Are They Now? So that was just myself and the guy who was bullying me at the time or attempting to bully me at the time. And they did a Where Are They Now? Situation. So I was on Oprah the second time on that episode.
And this person that was bullying you was on it with you at the same time?
Basically, it was like more of a Zoom call that time rather than her flying us out or busing us out to Chicago. It was more of like a Zoom or
So this guy admitted
situation.
he was a racist and that's why he was doing that shit?
He admitted that he grew up in a racist household. So we were like riding on a bus to a football game, and he was looking through a magazine, and he was looking at like gorillas and apes, and he was like, "Look, Dorian, it's your cousin."
Damn.
Yeah, when he said that, my first instinct was to jaw him. But I knew if I jawed him, I potentially wouldn't get to play in this game. And I like football. So instead, I signed up for the wrestling team because I knew he was a wrestler. And our football coach wanted us to wrestle anyway, so I'm like, man, let's run it. And I wrestled his big 300-pound self and slammed his butt all around every single day to the point where he never wanted to wrestle me again or bully me again. And yeah, I got him back.
Right on, man. And now, it's just because out of curiosity, as you grew up, I respect the hell out of her, obviously. Getting to engage in conversation with her beforehand, or did they just throw you guys on stage and get to it?
That's a great question. I'm happy that you want to know that. In all reality, you're right. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for leaking that or whatever, but I'm doing it anyway. They definitely prep. Like, Oprah's a professional. She's not going to let you go up there and be like, the picture of Dorian Gray 2 out now. You know what I mean? She's going to keep you on topic. So they definitely, you know, ask you the questions in advance and then let you reply to them. And they listen to your reply and say, okay, so you should talk a little more about this, or you should say it a little more like this.
Wow. And did you get to have side conversations with her at all, or talk to her outside of this show?
Just maybe when she stopped filming during the actual taping of the show, in like commercial break type of thing, or you know, on the actual show when we did the Where Are They Now? But yeah, I don't like.
Okay,
I don't got Oprah on speed dial.
No. I meant just at the show. Yeah, at the show. That's cool though, man. That's a great accomplishment. Obviously, I don't think anybody that's ever been here can say they've accomplished anything as significant as that. I think that's super, super serious.
That's love, bro.
Talk about yourself, man. Did you grow up in Detroit?
Well, I'm gonna claim that right now, actually, because I hear a lot of people come on the show and say they were the first to do something. So I definitely was the first rapper. I appreciate you giving me that title. I was the first rapper on the couch that was on Oprah. But yeah, what was your question?
No, you have to say that very clearly because this one's true.
Let me say that. Yeah, this is facts. All of them are going to be facts, even though they're going to be pretty outlandish. I was the first rapper that Kid Al interviewed that was on Oprah twice. So if you have somebody that was on it once, now they still ain't caught me yet.
Yeah, you're the first rapper ever to be on this couch. I was on Oprah Winfrey, that's for sure. Probably in Detroit rap history too. Anyway, back to you. So you're from Detroit.
I was born in Livonia, and then they sent me right back to Monroe, where I was raised my whole life. Okay. Monroe. So Monroe, Michigan. You know, are you familiar with Monroe?
Not really, no. Where area is it kind of located in?
Downriver, right? Yeah, so Monroe, we do this, right? Okay, you do that thing, right? Mm-hmm. So Monroe's like right here.
Okay, cool.
We about 45, 50 minutes under Detroit.
Okay, cool, man. Yeah, so just talk about growing up a little bit, man. What got you to this point now? You are considered upcoming artist in Michigan right now. And what got you to the point of creating music? What would you say the first thing what would you say the first thing is that put you into the light of wanting to be in the industry at all? Yeah, because you've accomplished so many different things here, right? So I kind of want to get into the first moment that a spotlight was on you for any type of reason.
For music?
Yeah, for anything, honestly. Was the Oprah thing the first thing that was kind of like a spotlight for you because you're in school? And did that push you into the music career? Or kind of talk about the timeline of how things came about for you?
For sure. So for music, I've always been a musician because I went to a private school called Meadow Montessori. A lot of great talent came out of Meadow Montessori schools. I think Diddy was involved in Meadow Montessori schools. Kanye talks about Montessori a lot in his music. So Meadow Montessori, they teach us instruments at a very young age. So I played the orchestra bass. That was the first instrument I ever played. Outside of like a clarinet or something like that, or a flute. So I played the orchestra bass and I was really passionate about it. And then I just started learning more instruments: cello, viola, violin, saxophone, piano. So that love for the orchestra sparked into, it collaborated with my love for poetry, because I was a poet growing up, just, going through different life experiences growing up in between Detroit and Ohio. You see a lot of crazy stuff. You see a lot of drugs. You see drug addicts. You see people dying. And that's where the poetry came in. So poetry with music, it was only right that I start spitting.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's kind of Tupac reminiscent, right? Because poetry was his first love, and that's the thing he started to launch his music career. For sure. It intertwined it, man. So what was the first moment that you knew you wanted to become an artist? What was the switch that turned on? And what was the beginning of your career like?
Man, in all reality, just freestyling. you know how it is in high school. You at the lunch table, people making the beat, the clips beat on the table.
I was making the beats, by the way, when I was there.
Oh, okay,
I was the beat maker.
You was the beat maker, and
yeah.
then everybody would circle around and freestyle.
Yeah.
Well, I was the dude at my school that freestyled and beat everybody. Nobody could mess with me on the freestyle tip. And then eventually, like, I had an older homie in school that would always come up to me. He knew I was spitting, so he would always come up to me and be like, "Mandela, listen to this." And he had a whole rhyme book, like a thick rhyme book full of raps that he had written down.
Yeah.
And he would just be spitting. And every day he'd come to me, "Hey, Mandela, listen to this." And then, and dude's name is Raleigh Smith. He's a popular barber around the world and an artist. But Raleigh would come to me all the time and show me these rhyme books full of raps. And I would be thinking, man, I could do that. I'd be rapping off the top of my head, but I could write my stuff down too. So eventually I wrote my first song and never stopped.
Yeah, man. Talk about the milestones you've accomplished so far with your music career.
Well, one of my biggest milestones was moving out to California and actually pursuing that dream.
Cool.
A lot of people in my hometown stay local. I decided to pursue it and go out to California. God sent me there because my little sister moved there first, and I'm a typical big brother, so I had to find a way to get there. And I applied for a job at Lazy Boy to be like the. I was working for Lazy Boy, the furniture company. I don't know if this ain't a Lazy Boy, but I was working at the furniture company, and I applied to be the CEO's assistant. And the lady said, "Why would you want to be the assistant? All you're going to be doing is getting his coffee and setting his schedule. Like, you're a true leader. We need leaders like you at our distribution centers. Would you be willing to move to California?" I didn't even apply for any job out of state, but I knew I needed to go to California to look out for my sister and to pursue my music. So God opened that door. I can't take none of the credit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So you go to California, and what can you compare Detroit's music scene or entertainment scene to California's entertainment scene?
Definitely. So Detroit and California, we actually are close, like mostly the Bay a lot, but a lot of people in California bump Detroit music heavy. When I moved out there, I started my own studio, Dream Team Home Studios, because I'm an audio engineer.
Cool.
Taught myself how to engineer my own music. Tired of waiting on people to record me or to make me beats, so I had to teach myself. And when I was out in Cali running my studio business, I eventually started engineering at other studios, popular studios out in LA and downtown, in some big name studios. When I did that, I would go outside, people be smoking L's outside. I'm listening to what they're listening to.
Yeah.
Like, what do they listen to out here in Cali? They bumping TJX6 and Vezo, and like they're bumping our artists. I'm like, what in the world? You bumping Michigan artists? I came all the way out here trying to, to blow up and push my music out here, and y'all are trying to get like us down in Michigan, up in Michigan. So I thought that was wild, bro.
Yeah.
Yes, but they're very closely related.
Okay, cool. And what did you accomplish when you were out there for your music?
Well, I started off, of course, remember I told you I was working for Lazy Boy, so I was managing a distribution center, ended up managing another distribution center. So I want to keep speaking on that. Like, I'm the first rapper to maintain an executive career and still drop fire albums, bro. So that's just a fact. And when I was working for Lazy Boy, I got recruited to Trek Bicycle, and I managed their store. Their distribution center had about 75 employees under me. And the general manager came to me and he said, "Dorian, if I gave you my job, if I came to you one day and offered you my position and moved on, would you accept it if you had to stop making music?" I looked at him, laughed a little bit, and told him, like, no,
yeah,
I would never do that.
Right.
So then the next week I came to work and he had a fat resignation package on my desk and told me, like, go start your business.
Facts.
Go start your business, man. And that's exactly what I did. I thanked him for that. It was a blessing. I went and started my business, had plenty months' pay lined up, invested in my business, Dream Team Home Studios. And that's really what I continue to push and how I feel like one of my biggest milestones.
Beautiful, man. Very beautiful. Yeah. And so music itself, you're creating this content, you're creating these songs and everything like that. Kind of talk about the timeline of that, of creating these albums. Now you have an album, and that's part 2, obviously, with the Dorian. So talk about that process.
Well, let me connect it all together. So when I was out in California, I was bumping Nipsey Hussle before I even moved to California. And I've always been somebody that's big on ownership and independence. You know, I make my own money. Even though I'm working for these companies, I know how to make my own money, so I can always negotiate my pay and things of that sort. So when I went out to California, I was bumping Nipsey Hussle, and then I bumped into Nipsey Hussle.
Whoa.
On like 2 or 3 different occasions. Once at one of his shops, he was like dropping Marathon OG, and I got to test the first strain of Marathon OG when he dropped it. Got the T-shirt, smoking it with him, and he told me personally. I was sitting there face to face with him. Sam's over to my left, looking at him in front of at Nip, and Nip was telling me, push this Marathon OG. This is the truth. Push this. And I told him, like, I got you. I'm gonna push it. I said, I'm a musician. I moved all the way out here from under Detroit, from Monroe, and I'm about to push my music out here. He said, man, push that hard, just like you see me pushing this OG. You got to push that music. You gonna make it. Push. Keep going. Go harder. So when Nipsey told me to go harder, that I'm like, dang, why he didn't even have to interact with me. But he talked to me like he was one of my homies, encouraging me. And that pushed me to, I knew I wasn't going to stop until I reached wherever I needed to go.
Man, that's crazy as fuck.
Facts.
That's crazy as fuck, bro.
Facts, man.
And obviously the death of Nipsey, which is very unfortunate. And
R.I.P. Nip.
having somebody who connected with you on that level and motivated you, and then seeing him pass away and seeing that just seeing you as an example that it was true, that he was a leader, that he was a motivator, that he did care about the culture. And some people just don't do it, man. Some people just don't go out of their way. You know what I'm saying? No matter how much success they have, they just feel like, what's the point or whatever. But seeing his personality and the way he carried himself, he did do that. And he did it for you, which is obviously fucking incredible, right?
Crazy. Another random story about Nipsey. I saw him at the 420 concert, Wiz Khalifa and Snoop Dogg. On 420, they had a concert at the Palladium or something. I forget the name of it, out in Cali, or the amphitheater. And we went out there, and there's a huge line to get in the front door. Nipsey doesn't wait in no lines. So Nipsey pulled up at the concert and walked straight through past the whole line and was walking in the front door. And I'm close to the front. And I see him. I'm like, hey, what up, Nip? And I went to dap him. He had a big old bodyguard who like grabbed my chest and pushed me out of the way. Nip pushed his big bodyguard out of the way and dapped me up and remembered me from the first time he met me. So I'm like, man, Nip is the realest cat, bro.
That's heat.
He's the realest cat. So I just had to share that too. But the situation with Nip is I actually saw him. I met him at the Marathon OG release of his weed, his own brand. Yeah. Who has their own brand back then? I saw him dropping his own T-shirt, Marathon OG T-shirt. Who had their own T-shirts back then? It was inside of a weed shop. He had his own weed shops. Who had their own weed shops back then? Nipsey had his own clothing store, the Marathon clothing store. He owned a Fat Burger. He owned that whole complex, a hair salon, barbershop. So watching Nip and how he moved out west and how he controlled the streets too out west, but was doing something positive and pushing people to buy back their block, I knew when he passed away that it wasn't a coincidence. There's a million people out in Cali. When I would interact with people, they'd be like, man, I wish I would have met Nip. I came all the way from Michigan and met him twice. You know what I mean? On 2 different occasions, and he poured into me. And I knew that was him passing the torch in a way, because he talks buying back your block. That's what I'm about. I'm a purchase banker, bro. That's what I do for a living now. I get people into homes. I'm literally teaching my community how to buy back their block. Why? Because I was inspired by Nip.
Yes, and you can see the gentrification in Detroit right now, right? So it's like we had New Era Detroit come on here and talk about that, talk about how there's no success in Detroit unless it's black owned. You can't have people come from outside of the city and own all these businesses and they don't even live here, right? Facts. So talk about your mindset with it.
Well, we just had a big Juneteenth celebration in my hood, in my community, in Monroe, Michigan. And what people would call one of the toughest streets to live on, Elmira, where there is some tough stuff that happens from time to time, but there's a lot of good people that live on that street. We had one of my cousins own a whole park, a big plot of land out there, and they call it Montague Park. So what they did is, because they own the park, they could throw an event. They threw an event for Juneteenth and for Father's Day, for Juneteenth. And what they ended up doing was they had a talent show, face painting, food, literally all these things that were happening. And at that event, I had the opportunity to go out there and share with my community about buying back their block, about owning rather than renting. So that definitely showed that there's multiple different opportunities for me to share that same message with my community.
Beautiful, man. Yeah, there's not a lot of people that are going out of their way to actually restore or help restore Detroit, and get it back to, I don't know if you want to say rightful owners, but the people who should be owning it, because it is kind of interesting that just because you have some money outside of the city that you can go in and kind of monopolize the city, and you don't even have anything to do with it or the culture or anything like that, and it doesn't help anybody but yourself, really. When you're living outside of it and making money off the city.
Well, yeah, there's things that could be changed to stop that, but one of the main things, because it's not being straightforward, is a lot of the change that we want to see is not going to come from the government or come from a president or come from somebody that's outside of the community. It's going to come from us, realizing who we are, realizing the power that we have, the strength that we have. Nipsey could have bought jewelry and ice and all this stuff. He was teaching people it's whack to buy jewelry, it's whack to buy to spend your money frivolously when you could instead invest in your community and buy a community center. On my new album, one of my lines is, I'd rather buy a community center than go buy a Bentley. And I really mean that, because how many more people are going to be impacted from a community center than me flashing and flexing riding through my hood? Yeah. So that's what I'm about.
My whole thing, and that's really awesome. And I do see it from this sense. So I talked about this with New Era Detroit, and basically what's happening is rappers in Detroit, rappers everywhere, they're going for the bag because they're coming from the gutter, right? So how do you get to the bag? Getting to the bag is by creating this music and creating this persona and creating everything it takes to monetize themselves as a rapper. Now, a lot of them are making it seem like they're bigger than they are and have more money than they do, but they're really constantly chasing the bag. Yep. I get that part, right? But then once there's a certain point where that rapper becomes established and successful and wealthy enough to start taking care of their community, that's where it's like, okay, wait, what's going on here? Now you're in the position to help, but you're still not helping. So what does that say? That's the kind of
frustrating, right?
Yeah, not for me, because I'm not from Detroit, so I see it from more your side, where it's frustrating for you, where you're seeing people who are established, because you're already doing it at a point where you probably don't have as much money as one of the top rappers in Detroit, but you're still reinvesting and trying to make things happen. Facts. Whereas these entertainers and stuff that have all this money and power and control and influence aren't doing any of that. So that's why I can see your frustration in that.
Yeah, but it's not frustration now, because there's progress being made. This is where we start getting on platforms like this and sharing with the youth and sharing with other musicians and artists. You don't have to put on a front or be fake or tell people I have more money than I do. That's what my album's all about. It's about admitting my sin and telling you how I got out of it. How did I get out of a struggle to get to success?
Yes.
Why are we not doing that? You can be cool and still do that. It's still cool to me if, J. Cole talks about that a lot. Like, if you're broke, just rap about being broke. Rap about what you're really going through. But it's deeper than that, though. We should start. I'm challenging everybody right here on this platform right now. Like, if you have a lot of money, what have you done for your community? Not to go show flex it or to show it in front of everybody, but let's buy back our block for real, just like Nip did. Let's go buy a bunch of houses. I talk about this on my platform, just like on social media. If in every hood in America, the trap houses, so to speak, where people are selling drugs or doing whatever they're doing to make money and it's not legal, if they were to instead own those houses, really pay a mortgage, even if there's 5-6 people that live there or whatever, put in on the mortgage and buy that, put a down payment on the house and buy it rather than renting it off somebody. Can you imagine the change that would happen? You got this trap house, so to speak. I have a mortgage. I bought that house. Now, because I have this house, that's an investment property. And now I'm going to go purchase an additional house, a new primary residence. I'm renting that one out. Can you imagine that? It would change the whole tone of things, because instead of buying jewelry, fancy cars, and flexing on the same people that are your brothers and sisters, you'd be helping them. You could get them in your house. You could rent our house.
And I do see that, and I think that's what part of the reason you're speaking on is because you're trying to inform people into taking that perspective.
Yeah.
And from my perspective, I just see people that maybe grew up in the circumstances that they're dealt with, and for them, that perception's not even there because they're not educated on it. And a lot of people that won't even see this podcast, unfortunately, because they're just so engraved into that system that they're invested in, that they're just gonna keep doing that because that's what they know and that's what they grew up doing. Because I had a lot of guests come on here talking about how their fathers, you know, raised them in a trap house and all that stuff. It's like, how the hell do they know to invest into the house instead of...
Were they really thinking about who owned that trap house?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? No, but I see your perspective though. Like, and I really, hopefully we can help push that, right?
Appreciate it. You are already.
No, yeah. I'm doing my best, man. I'm doing my best to help, because I feel like it does suck. We do talk about that a lot, man. The people who have the most influence in the world are unfortunately entertainers. Unfortunately, and it's like, damn, bro, you guys do have the power to change it. Like when you get to a Nicki Minaj status and like statuses like that, it's like, come on, bro. Like, we don't need to be talking about popping pussy anymore. We could be talking about popping up these for sale signs instead. You know what I'm saying? Trying to figure that shit out. But yeah, man, I really appreciate that you're doing that. That's awesome. Now talk about your music itself, man. You have these 2 albums that 1 and 2, so you only make it 2 if the first one's successful, or you got reciprocation, or you want to continue from that message. So talk about how the first 2 albums came together.
Yeah, so the picture of Dorian Gray, that came about because obviously my name's Dorian Gray, but there's a book by Oscar Wilde called The Picture of Dorian Gray.
Word.
It's a real book. Oscar Wilde's a very unique writer. The book actually got banned because it was back in the day. It was back in the day when books had to be like positive and have a good moral at the end, and they felt that didn't, because it was about a guy who had someone come and paint him. He was a very rich, handsome young man, and he had a painter, a famous painter, come paint a picture of him. And when he painted the picture of him, he knew that he looked so handsome and young in this picture that he was just going to age older and older. And his way of clout in that time, this is why we can't get caught up in this in today's age. In that time, clout to him was staying young and handsome and rich, looking a certain way. So he said, he got sad. He said, I'm never going to look this young and handsome again. I will sell my soul to stay this young. And he really did it. He sold his soul to stay as young as he did in the painting. His soul went into the painting and he stayed young and handsome, and nothing could kill him. But in the book, of course, he went around killing people, sinning, doing wrong things. Everybody's dying around him. He feels guilty and he doesn't die. And he's aging and aging. And eventually he realizes, man, I don't want to be alive anymore. I feel guilty about all this evil I've done. I don't deserve to live, but I keep on living. And he eventually went and looked at his painting. And when he looked at his painting, all of his sins went on to him and he died and turned to dust. So it's crazy story, right?
Wow, yeah.
So why wouldn't I make a movie or a book or a story? Why wouldn't I tell my version of that? Because I'm not selling my soul to stay looking a certain way. Yeah. So that's how the picture of Dorian Gray came about.
You know, if you go on YouTube and you read like comments and stuff like that, when you see the passing of like a major artist, or you see like somebody just dying in the entertainment industry, regardless of their status or whatever, you do kind of see like people will be like, oh, that was a sacrifice or this or that and stuff like that. And it is interesting because some shit's like too coincidental. We're like, man, that made no fucking sense. Like a lot of shit, man. I can't speak on certain shit, but there was some shit where I seen one time and I was like, bruh, how did you just post that picture and then the next day that shit just happened? That's kind of weird. Yeah. But also you'll just see weird stuff that's totally out of line with the artist's character that they built. So you can see like, maybe is that real? Is selling your soul for the industry real?
Wow. Going out to California opened my eyes to a lot of that. And I hung out with some people that, you know, hung out with some big names in the industry. I'm not going to expose anybody, but basically some of like as big of camps as like Cash Money, Bad Boy, like those type of big name camps, right? So knowing that they were in these type of big circles, they had the inside scoop to know if that type of stuff went down. It's definitely real. There's definitely something going on when it comes to like the way that God's real, the enemy's real too, the devil's real too. So there's people that are not on God's side that are selling their soul, or that are participating in helping the devil so that they can get personal gain. That's selling your soul.
Is that like what the Illuminati is? Or like some shit?
I believe the Illuminati is probably just an organized group of rich people that are calling shots, and they're not doing it for positive gain. They're doing it for their own gain. It's like a 1%er type of group. So I'm not speaking on any of that. I don't want no smoke. I don't want no smoke with that.
I don't want no smoke with the Illuminati. I'm can't delete this part.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck all that.
Yeah, I don't want no smoke with them either. Yeah. So I'm gonna just make that known right now.
Yeah.
And
Okay, forget the Illuminati
Yeah,
part.
forget
Talk
that
about
part,
this.
cut that
Yeah,
out.
no, I'm gonna have to cut that out for sure.
No, you can keep it, but I just want them to know I don't want no smoke.
We don't have no problems with you guys.
But yeah, to answer your question, kiddo, bro, that stuff's real, man. You have to be cognizant of that. Like, I listen to a lot of dope artists, like my boy X. I got on my shirt right now. So 101 by my boy Lloyd Cheatham.
Heat,
Right?
very heat.
I bump X a lot. I was super sad when he passed away. You hear a lot of conspiracies about that, right? People saying, "Oh, did Drake take him out? He was rapping about him." You know, was it Drake? Was it some type of Illuminati hit? You know, because he was so sick with the music and he was beefing with Drake and talking about his mom at times and stuff. Like, people were making all type of accusations about X. And then Juice WRLD. I saw clips of Juice WRLD on Instagram talking about selling his soul and doing rituals in the middle of like the Pentagon star. And I don't think he was serious, or maybe I don't know what he was doing. But that type of energy, even if it's a joke,
yes,
that type of energy opens the door. Just like they say drugs, right? When you do drugs, like you can do certain hallucinogenic drugs that can open your mind to evil spirits attacking or demons attacking. Bro, we're not just flesh and blood, bro. There's a spirit in us. Like, we have a soul. So if that's real, there's also evil spirits flying around that we can't see. Mm-hmm. So when you get high and do certain drugs, or you sell your soul, or you're doing things that you know are evil to harm others, you're opening the door to those evil spirits to use you as how they want to.
Yeah, very prominent in India. They have what's called tantras, and black magic is a real thing.
Oh,
and,
yeah. You put me up on something, right? What's that? A tantra?
Tantra, yeah. It's basically everything that we're doing in life is connected to everything. And there's ways to communicate and ways to make things happen that are beyond our perception. From my guru, I believe in my guru a lot. So when he speaks about black magic, or he speaks about this stuff, I believe it. I just believe it because I'm so invested in him. But I do believe that you can curse somebody, or be cursed, or be involved in some type of shit that's beyond our perception, like I said, and that can affect your lives if you really fuck with it enough. And I think, like you said, if you keep worshiping the devil and you keep worshiping evil or keep worshiping death, that shit's around the corner somewhere. No disrespect to X, but he was kind of doing like all that shit basically. Like,
he was about it. He wasn't scared to say exactly how he felt. He was about the beef. He was gonna beef with Migos. He was gonna beef with Drake. He was beefing with anybody. His music was sick, bro. I'm one of his biggest fans even to this day. Same. But I personally now realize I have to watch what I listen to. I have to watch what I watch, because all of that invites certain spirits into your life. So yeah, man.
Oh yeah, man. You
RPX,
ever watch like a horror movie and like obviously you feel scared after, but like there was some horror movies where I'd watch them like, nah, bro, this shit, something's going down, B. Like like you gotta start be careful when you watch too many horror movies, especially if they're based off true stories. Yep. You start feeling different. Like, it's not just the movie.
It's affecting your spirit too. Your spirit. Mm-hmm. You're feeling a type of way.
Yeah.
I believe all that's real, man. And I'm sure your guru will tell you it is too.
Yeah.
You know? But my Bible tells me it's real, bro.
Yeah. Well, in India, they believe it. They believe in India that you can look, if you have the Tantra built in you and you worked on it, you can look at somebody's picture and ruin their lives. Which, you know, that's just part of black magic. That's what they consider. I mean, I believe it, man. I can't
that's
listen
why you gotta stay on point.
Yeah, I can't listen to like 95% of what my guru says and be like, nah, that 5% I'm not gonna listen to. It's like, I already invested all that. Why the fuck would I not? But yeah, man, back to the music. Talk about where it stems from, man. Obviously, you know, you did two of them back to back, like we said, but just dive into it a little bit. What can people expect when they check it out?
So I got a lot of dope artists on the album, and The Picture of Dorian Gray 2 dropped on the 7-year anniversary of The Picture of Dorian Gray 1. One of the reasons I wanted to do a part 2 is because this was my first album. So with my first album being, like, I got my best response on my first album. So I went back to the same studio, Mix Factory 1 in the D, and I recorded the whole album there. And I just, you know, it was produced or engineered, executive produced by one of the dopest engineers, Harrison of 1111 Sounds. I think he's working with Iced Up Records a little bit too right now. I have Crispy Life from Flint on the album.
Cool.
I have RMC Mike on the album. And I'm, you know, videos coming soon on both of those tracks. I have Talia Big Dog from Ohio on the album. I have Effortless Vic from the D on the album. So I have a lot of dope artists from Detroit, but also I have some up and coming artists out of my hometown of Monroe on the album. So my goal is definitely to, because I know the work I put into this album is going to go out there and people are going to hear it. I wanted to put others on with it as well. So you're going to hear about some artists like my boy G Finesse, my boy Tez, CP Styles, and I just have a lot of dope artists. Rome Lucio, a lot of dope artists out of my hometown of Monroe. So I'm putting the city on the map.
Beautiful, man. Yeah, you named some high caliber guys there that can definitely produce, man. And it sounds like
you heard of them cats? You heard of RMC Mike and Crispy Life?
Yeah, Crispy Life, of course, man. Those guys are rocking Flint right now, man.
Yes,
fucking killing it, man. Those dudes are big time right now.
Free
man.
Rio too. I'm ready for him to get out. You know, I'll put him on the next album or something.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's awesome that you got those guys. I always tell people that, like, even if your style is a little bit different from the Detroit pop, still intertwine those artists with you.
Ooh, you don't want to speak on that though, L, do you? What they doing on my album, bro? Like, I'm not talking about what they talking about all the time, you know?
Yeah.
So I want to speak on that if you don't mind,
bro.
Yeah,
go ahead, man.
That's my whole mission. I'm over here. I probably shouldn't leak this on the show, but I'm going to, because I really respect your show.
Thank you.
My whole mission with my music at this point is I want to work with as many artists in the industry as possible. And I want them to hear what I'm talking about. And then, because I'm not somebody you're not about to hop on the track with me and just body me on any track. I don't care who you are in the game, you know, from Jay-Z to some, you know, an up and coming artist. So because I'm a poet like that and I'm serious about lyrics and music, when I get on a track with somebody, I want them to hear my lyrics and think I have to actually talk about something.
Yes.
Dang, he's talking about buying back his block. He's talking about how he was sinning and now he's living right for God, and he still got bars with it. I have to talk. I can't just go in here talking about hoes, you know, about sipping, about killing my own people. It's not going to fly on my track.
Yes. Yeah, it's very positive, man. You're forcing people to be conscious when they get into the studio with you.
Facts.
That's pretty cool, man. Yeah, that energy that you bring, I can totally see why people would kind of orchestrate themselves towards that direction. Man, it's been really fucking awesome talking to you, man.
Likewise, bro.
No, seriously, this has been awesome. It's an eye-opener, as well as just talking to an intellectual like you that has his priorities set for himself and just for the community around him. Seems like you really want to influence the world, just like Nipsey did to you, and really impact you. The way he did impact you, you want to impact others the same way, and helping restore Detroit, which is really awesome, man. I look forward to seeing what else you have to bring to the table for everybody, man. Tell everybody how they can find your social medias and what future projects they can look out for.
Love, bro. Appreciate the opportunity. You can find me on Instagram at Young Mandela. You can find me TikTok at Young Mandela, Twitter the same thing, Facebook Dorian Mandela Gray. Check me out on YouTube, youtube.com/Young Mandela. You gotta go there because I'm about to drop all the videos off of the album. I got videos already shot and done that I'm about to keep dropping, so you gotta subscribe there. And just pick up the album, The Picture of Dorian Gray 2, youngmandela.com, dreamteamhomestudios.com. Let's work.
For sure, man. I appreciate you again for being a part of this. Everybody go check out Young Mandela, man. You know, one thing I do want to touch on with everybody that's watching this podcast is that we have to make the picture bigger than ourselves. I know the money is there for us to just grab for ourselves and keep moving forward, but we do have to reach out. We do have to be a part of the community that's promoting us and putting us in a position where we are monetizing ourselves and where we do have a status and where we can reach many, many people, because I have a big reach in Detroit, and I feel like I do want to start, you know, using that reach to spread positivity and helping rebuild and helping influence people to make a better journey with their life.
That's good, bro.
Yeah. Then and people like you help me motivate me to want to take that direction. So thank you again for being a part of this. High Low Visuals is shooting these productions for us. We're shooting at Parallel Sound Studio. We're out. I stole this pen earlier, but I'm going to return it because I feel good about myself now. Peace.
Love, bro. I appreciate you, man.
For sure. Let's take this picture, man. Shit.
Let's get it, bro. And